Get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports HQ golf analyst Shane Bacon. World number one Scottie Scheffler not gaining any ground on Friday. 2 under 70. We showed it. The most impressive, his par save on 18. Tee shot into the beach, punches out, and somehow saves par because, of course, he does, Shane. What'd you think of his par save on 18?
Well, first things first, you and I hit that shot at 18 at Pebble Beach. We're not finding that golf ball. I mean, when you're good and you've got, like, basically the roll we've seen from Scottie the last couple of years, that's findable and hittable. I think that's the most amazing part. You know, I mean, the tide was up. You see video of Brandt Snedeker back in 2019. Tide was kind of down. You know, there was a little bit more land to hit off of. But, you know, Scottie's one of those guys that avoids bogeys as good as anybody that's ever played professional golf. I mean, it's really his great skill. And this is you're watching a professional golf par. Get yourself in trouble, get it out, get it on the green, give yourself an outside chance of making birdie, but avoid a 6 to close. You know, Scottie's been a little off this week. I think he'd be the first to admit that. The short game has not been great. Scrambling around the green, something Scottie's one of the best in the world at, has not been up to par. And what we typically see from Scottie Scheffler has been pretty brutal out of the bunkers. But, you know, I mean, if you ask Scottie, considering the hand injury and what we've seen in terms of no golf from Scottie basically over the last 2 months, T20 with an opportunity, high wins expected on Saturday. I think Scottie probably take that. Maybe would have liked to be 2 shots closer in terms of birdies, but you're going to see a little rust from guys like Scottie Scheffler when you hadn't played competitive golf at this level. And again, T20 is something I think he probably would have taken at this point.
I think we got spoiled with Tiger Woods and some of the other greats, Phil Mickelson, when they were playing in their prime. And I think we always expect Scottie to win. I think that's an unfair expectation all the time, especially in his season debut. What do you want from him in this event? What do you want to see him take away from this event so that he can start his season well?
I mean, I think he's done probably what you'd expect him to do. I mean, opening with 67, I thought was incredibly impressive. I saw Justin Ray mention since 2022, 40% of his rounds have been 67 or better. I mean, that's just astounding to think about when you consider the golf courses they're playing and how much professional golf somebody like Scottie has to play. You know, I think Scottie spoiled it a little bit as well. I mean, you mentioned Tiger Woods, and of course what Tiger did in the early 2000s, we've never seen anything like it. I mean, Scottie's gotten close to that in terms of turning good events and good weeks into wins and coming close a lot of the time. I think last year, you mentioned the wins, how incredible he was across the board. I mean, obviously winning at Augusta, playing so well in the Olympics. You know, Scottie shows up and typically walks away with a trophy when he's around the top of the leaderboard. If he finishes top 10, I think he'll be pretty happy with it. I think, you know, thinking he's going to win at this point, considering he's tied 20 and he's got a lot of names between him and the top of the leaderboard, probably unlikely. But I did mention the weather. You know, it might be gusting 20 to 30 mile an hour tomorrow. And for somebody like Scottie Scheffler, that's a good thing because he's going to play better in the wind considering his ball striking than a lot of the guys ahead of him. So for Scottie, goes out there tomorrow and say he shoots 5 under. He's going to move up a lot on that leaderboard and at least give himself an opportunity if the conditions are what they say they're going to be.
7 shots back behind the leader, Sepp Straka, so certainly within striking distance for the world number one, Scottie Scheffler. Straka carting back-to-back 65s to take a 3-shot lead into the weekend. Hat tip to Justin Ray. You just mentioned him. Straka has birdied 40 of his last 100 PGA Tour holes played. Won the American Express 2 weeks ago, Shane. What are you seeing from Sepp Straka during this stretch?
Hakeem, let me give you some numbers this week alone. 3rd off the tee in strokes gained, 1st tee to green, 3rd approach, 10th proximity, 4th around the greens, 25th in strokes gained putting. And that is the thing he spent a lot of his offseason kind of honing in. He's changed his grip and he moved his hands around a little bit in terms of the putting. I mean, what I see is a guy that's playing with a lot of confidence. I mean, you mentioned the rounds of 65. His 14th round of the year, he shot 65 6 times this season alone. And you mentioned the career. I mean, Sepp Straka is not a guy that's won a lot in his career. I mean, with an opportunity at Pebble Beach, signature event, to go out there and pick up a 2nd victory of the season. I mean, you're talking about careering it in 2025. We see players do this in professional golf, and something that I think Tiger has mentioned a lot in terms of the modern professional is taking advantage when you have it. And right now, Sepp has it. So to take advantage of that is important because, you know, in 6 months, 8 months, or maybe even next week, he's not going to play the way we've seen him play over the last 4 events. And so for Sepp Straka, I just like the fact that he's leaning in to this great ball striking, great iron play, and rolling the rock as well as he is.
Yeah, he's played a lot of golf here in the start of the year. Final 2 rounds played at the Pebble Beach course. Chase Pack includes Tom Kim, Andrew Novak, who had a great finish last week. Both up 32 spots on the leaderboard, both 4 shots back. Shane, who's a player you like to make a move on moving day?
Well, I'd be interested to see what Rory does tomorrow. I mentioned the wins. Again, that plays into the better ball striker's hands. I think Tom Kim showed that today with the way he was able to leap up the leaderboard. But for Rory McIlroy, as good as he's played a couple of the par 5s this week, he hasn't taken full advantage of the power. Pebble Beach is not a power-heavy golf course. You can hit driver, but it's not really advantageous most of the time. I mean, this tee shot on 14, I'll be thinking about this for years. 353 on a line that nobody takes. Over that tree is insane. He had 205 left into 14. And I mentioned this earlier today. In 2019, when Gary Woodland won, he hit 3-wood into 14. Rory hit 7-iron into 14 and makes par. So he'll be kicking himself there. But he hasn't taken full advantage of Rory going full throttle with the driver. 3rd hole today, he hits at 321 in the middle of the fairway. Flip wedge makes par. 9, he hits it 345, middle of the fairway, makes par. 10, 335, middle of the fairway, makes par. And on 14, as I mentioned, 353, 7-iron into the par 5, and makes par. You saw that roll he made at the last on 18. For Eagle, that's great. But Rory hasn't leaned in to the driver ability that we've seen this week. He's driving it as good as we see kind of mid-season Rory drive it. So if he can step on those par 5s tomorrow, play him, let's say, 4-5 under, make another eagle, I think Rory has an opportunity to really, really move up this leaderboard. 4th shortest odds now to win this tournament. Shane Bacon break it down for us here on CBS Sports HQ. Shane, thanks. All right, so Sepp Straka goes into the weekend as the favorite. He's got a 3-shot lead at plus 260. If you want to lay that, you can. You're going to get the juice there, but you just heard Shane make a case for Rory McIlroy, plus 1,600. Scotty Scheffler, plus 1,100 if you like him. Saturday and Sunday coverage begins on CBS and streaming live on Paramount+. Final round coverage of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. We'll have full highlights and post-round analysis right here on CBS Sports HQ.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.